Let's set some skill. Oh, hold on. Let's see if we can buy a new skill. Let's look at our skills. We got 43 points to use? Wow. And we definitely want to use... Where is it? Where's Chiaki's skill? What does it call? Cheat code. Time of it doesn't increase even if you shoot a statement with a silencer. Boom. What else do you want to buy? Because we got like everything else we own activated right now. So maybe we should buy something. Opening handbook. So we have 6 we could buy. 6 we could use to buy stuff with. What do we want? What's delusion? The influence gauge recovers over time. Ambidextrous. Is Panic Talk Action the one I'm really bad at? Is that the rhythm game? Excellent blade. Sharpness increased by 2 actually would be pretty nice. Fine sword is sharpness increased by 5. Yeah, sure. I feel like we tend to have some issues there. Let's get a fine sword. And I will use that. Boom. Okay, now as for the e-handbook, let's take a look at our clues and see if we can build a bit of a theory of the case. Okay, there are 2 victims in this time, Ibuki Miyoda and Hyoko Saionji. Ibuki Miyoda's cause of death was crushed windpipe as a result of choking. There are no other external injuries. Hyoko Saionji's cause of death was blood loss due to her throat being slit by a sharp-edged tool. It appears her death was instant. Did we? I don't think we ever actually got a... I don't think we found a specific murder weapon for Hyoko, if I don't recall. Blood's on the soles of Ibuki's feet. Okay. The rope used for hanging. According to Mikan, there is no doubt that the cause of Ibuki's death was her hanging herself with the rope. I mean, crushed windpipe. And there is always the possibility that it could be just like strangulation. Perhaps someone wrapped the rope around and pulled and it wasn't hanging specifically. Guess we'll need to keep that in mind. The key to the motel room that Hyoko was staying in was buried deep in her kimono. Pretty difficult to retrieve. A thick scrap of paper that was stuck to the baton lighting. I'll be honest, I have no idea why this is relevant. Black curtain. So this ties back to how the video was faked. Stepladder has blood on it. So all this... see, that's kind of a tough thing, isn't it? Because all the evidence relating to Ibuki, the blood on the shoes, the blood on the ladder and whatnot, it implies that Hyoko died first. Certainly. If I'm operating under the assumption that what went down is like someone goes in to kill Ibuki and then is caught off guard, like, wait, Hyoko's tying her kimono in here and now she saw me kill Ibuki? Now I have to kill her? It does seem odd that Ibuki would get so much blood on like all her stuff. I mean, if Hyoko saw them like mid-act, I guess maybe. Candle was found. So this is an easy one. This is to easily... you don't use the stage lighting because you can't recreate that in the conference room. That's why I use the candle. It's easy to recreate that lighting elsewhere. So this is a surveillance camera. This is not going to be the one that was actually used. AC was at 86 just to cover up time of death. I don't know why you'd clean up the bloodstain. That seems kind of weird. Oh, I know why. Because the bloodstain has Ibuki's footprint. The bloodstain would have been Ibuki's footprints. That's why you wipe it up. It doesn't even matter if it gets cleaned. It just needs to be smudged, so it's not distinctly Ibuki's footprints. That's why that... Okay, yeah. Yep, there we go. Because you want to maintain the illusion that Ibuki died first. Transparent glob, that's actually how you lock the doors, so... What I'm betting is the killer is probably hiding either like in the storage room or behind the curtains or something. I leave... Well, no. I guess they... Because they would have had to be in the hospital. So they're in the hospital. I rush out. They like follow behind me, but at enough of a distance to where I don't see them, I guess. And hopefully no one else sees them. They go into the venue when I go out. Or arrange Hyoko, who must have been like hidden in the storage room or something. Then you apply this glob to make it seem as though the door was locked from the inside. You could even just like snap some drumsticks on your way out to make it seem like, oh, it was barricaded with the drumsticks, when really it wasn't. So... What's this? Right up until the Monokuma announcement that morning, Mikan was with Hajime the whole time. Afterwards, she went to the hospital to check on everyone and realized that Ibuki had disappeared. When she rushed out of the hospital to search for Ibuki, she apparently met up with Fuyuhiko. Well, here's the thing. I think she has an airtight alibi because I got to the hospital before her, right? Right, whoever the killer is had to have been in the hospital before I arrived that morning. The video that Hajime saw at the hospital shows a person dressed in a hospital gown wearing a hemp bag on their head as they willingly climb a stepladder toward the noose. After Fuyuhiko met Mikan in front of the hospital, they split up to search for Ibuki. They checked the movie theater at Electric Avenue, but they didn't find anyone. Apparently Fuyuhiko and Mikan were only separated for a short time. Okay, so hold on. So Mikan definitely has an alibi because we separate. I go to straight to the hospital. She can't be there before I'm there, I assume, unless she took a shortcut or something. But I assume again that I probably took the most efficient way to get there. I leave the hospital. She, I guess, gets to the hospital at some point after I leave it. And then she meets Fuyuhiko outside the hospital. Which gives Fuyuhiko probably an alibi, maybe? Well, not airtight. Because he could have been in the hospital and then left after me. But wait, no. Hold on. Because if she and Fuyuhiko were together long enough, there's no way Fuyuhiko hasn't... And again, yeah, actually, if they were together long enough, there's no way either of them has the time to set up the Hyoko stuff at the music venue. Right, so it doesn't even really matter their alibi for the recording, because if they have a strong enough alibi during that, 10-minute interval... Because, I mean, it's not a lot that you have to do, but, I mean, we're talking you gotta rush in at enough of a delay to where it's not obvious that you're following me. So you may be waiting a minute or two even to go inside in the first place. Then you gotta drag Hyoko out from wherever you hid her. You tie her up with duct tape, and there's a lot of duct tape there, so that could take a solid bit of time. You snap the drumsticks, you gotta apply the goop or something. Close the doors behind you, and then still you need to leave with enough time for the goop to dry properly to make the appearance of a door locked from the inside. That's going to take the solid majority of that roughly 10-minute window of time. So if Mikan and Fuyuhiko were really with each other for the vast majority of that time, it seems doubtful either of them would have the time to do that. Hyoko's restaurant. Okay, so this we've basically solved, I think. So this is why Hyoko was there, presumably. Let's see, the invitation. And also, if we're running under the assumption that the killer only intended to kill Ibuki, and then was surprised when Hyoko was there, and had to improvise, and kill her as well, then it seems unlikely Sonya would be the killer. Because she would know that Hyoko would be going to that area to tie her kimono. In either the mornings or evenings or what have you. I don't know when Hyoko showers necessarily. invitation ticket prepared by Monokuma. 1 ticket was passed out per person, and the date it was passed out is printed on the tickets. I guess if anyone didn't see the film, they're probably pretty safely not the killer. Maybe? Well, I don't know. I mean... Because, like, obviously it isn't precisely an imitation murder. But it would be a significant coincidence if... for someone to have not seen the film and had framed the murder in this way. So the tote bag was purchased by the killer. Okay. We know about this, the movie, and that's the Monokuma file. So, in terms of who we think it is, and just based on alibis alone, I think we've, like, it's probably not Fuyuhiko, Sonia, or Mikan. And then I think Chiaki is probably Chiaki's probably disqualified just due to her build, right? Like, she's got, as well as Akane, the both of them have, would be more recognizably female in the hospital gowns than the person in the actual footage. So that just leaves Gundam or Kazuichi, right? Because, yeah, Fuyuhiko also has the alibi. Or Nagito. Nagito. But Nagito was, like, bedridden for most of this time. Well, not... I don't know when he started recovering. Oh, here's a question. Wait a minute, hold on. Was he ever bedridden? Well, no, he had physical symptoms. You can't just lie your way into having physical symptoms. So yeah, I think those are our prime suspects here. Gundam, Kazuichi, and Nagito. As for, like, pluses and minuses for each of them, I think Gundam is probably one of the less likely ones because we did run into him in the motel, right? Which gives him an alibi, more or less. Because, yeah, there's no way... Well, yeah. It would be very unlikely, I think. Because we have established the killer. They had to be in the hospital for the message. Then they go to the venue to, like, mess with the crime scene. And then leave the venue before we get there. Given that we saw Gundam at the motel, firstly, I don't think we spent much time in the music venue. So it seems unlikely. Like, as I understand it, we go to the music venue, we run in, oh my goodness, she's dead, run out, go to the motel. It's doubtful if Gundam was in the hotel, he could pass us by in that period of time. And even if he did, again, there's a lot of stuff that you need to do in a very narrow window of time. It'd be such a waste of time for him to run all the way to the motel just to give himself that little alibi. Well, yeah, and then he didn't even run back with us. There's no... Given that he was there at the motel, there's no plausible way he goes from the motel to the venue in time to do anything. Because he wouldn't get there faster than us. You know, best case scenario, he's getting us there at basically the same time, in which case he has no time. So Gundam has an alibi, which means it's either Nagito or Kazuichi, I guess. In Nagito's favor, he was living at the hospital, so he would have had the time to, like, set up the... And he naturally would have been in the hospital anyway and had access to it for the whole, fake video thing. But he was bedridden for a significant amount of time. But he definitely could have motive, right? I know I was theorizing earlier, like, what if Monokuma goes to Mikan and says, hey, I'll cure Nagito if you kill someone. And Mikan is such a good nurse. He's like, no, I must save my patient. Okay, fine, I'll do it. What if it's actually Monokuma comes to Nagito? And Nagito realizes, like, chips on the table. And he offers him, like, hey, if you kill someone, I'll heal you. And Nagito realizes, like, yeah, for all my talk of, like, my life is meaningless compared to these ultimates. I'm but a stepping stone. If I die, nothing matters. He realizes, actually, chips on the table. I don't want to die. And actually, yeah, I'll kill someone to get this cure. And that would actually fit with a lot of his cryptic wording. And I think he was recovering, like, over the course of that night. So he could have maybe been healthy enough to pull this off in time. Not to mention he also has more access to Ibuki more naturally. And then you do the killing. Ah, yes, you do the killing at the venue because it's easiest to fake. Well, no. Well, yeah, no. No, yes, maybe. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Well, no, it does matter because if you. How do I explain this? To do the fake video, you need the darkness to do it convincingly, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So it has to be conference room and venue, and then it's just a matter of deciding which you want to be in and which you want the body to be in. Now, as for Kazuichi, he does have the advantage of having more technical know-how. There is a degree of technical know-how here, but I don't think it's that significant. Right? If we're running under the theory that basically the killer just steals goes and gets another surveillance system from the scrapyard area, smashes that, puts it there to be like, oh, it got destroyed, and then steals the one that was actually in the music venue to use to record, you don't actually need a bunch of technical know-how. Right? If it was something like, oh, there are specific settings that allow you to, like, send a delayed message or something, or, oh, wow, we hacked it in and there's, like, another one, a third one that's actually connected to all this stuff. And now you're maybe thinking Kazuichi, but it's, it's a bat or something. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I guess after going all over my head, I guess Nagito is my main suspect. Which I'm kind of glad for. I really didn't want to see Mika be the murderer. So. Alright, let's go. Let's do this.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer
well, I mean,
is.
hold your horses. He hasn't been convicted yet. You got to use allegedly before that, okay? He's not been convicted in a court of law.
If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person...
I'm not sure how I feel about Hyoka's portrait being shorter than everyone else's.
I'll punish everyone besides the blackened.
I guess they're all at their original heights. Because Byakuya is tall.
Oh well, who cares about this boring explanation? Let's get on with it already.
You know one thing I kind of actually want to do? And obviously I can't really do this in this stream. Well, actually I probably could do it. I kind of would like to go back and see if Byakuya's like basic, like, so like if we look here at character profiles, I'd be curious to see if his character profile is like an exact. Obviously, weight is not going to be an exact match for Danganronpa 1, but just verify like is date of birth the same, is height the same, is blood type the same. Like it probably is, but if it isn't, oh boy, that could crack this whole case wide open.
I don't mind starting the trial, but I don't really have a grasp of how the case played out.
Sure you don't.
You know, because I was asleep the whole time.
Even if you do grasp it, you're just gonna confuse the heck out of us, aren't you?
But Nagito's not alone. I don't really get it either.
You're fine. Your head's empty anyway.
Empty head? Huh. What's wrong with that?
If you don't understand what's wrong with that, then it proves the accusation, I think.
Listen up. The emptier your head, the more dreams you can stuff inside it, you know?
No, I don't.
Anyway, we shouldn't proceed with the trial if those two can't participate in the arguments. Since he's the first witness, why don't we ask Hajime to explain the incident and the sequence of events?
Then, let's start with when we split into the hospital team and motel team because of the despair disease. The hospital team consisted of Nagito, Ibuki, and Akane, who were infected, and Mikan, Fuyuhiko, and me.
The other 5 on the motel team were myself, Gundam, Kazuichi, Chiaki, and Hyoko.
Spending the night at the hospital was prohibited, so Hajime and I had to sleep at our cottages.
I woke up at my cottage on the day the incident happened. Mikan came by to wake me up, and told me that Nagito had recovered from his symptoms. We immediately headed over to the hospital, and after we confirmed his recovery...
Oh, and I just realized too, actually. The fact that the footage of the suicide came from within the hospital actually helps to exonerate Mikan even further. Because one of the main things I had on her was this idea of, like, she would have been the only person to know when to send the transmission. Because I got there early, and no one else would have known to send it when I was early. But if you're in the hospital... And if you're in the hospital, you can probably reasonably assume that the people are going to come a bit early for the transition. Now, you do have a risk of the... Well, here's a tough thing, though. If you're just a guy in the hospital, how can you be certain that the person receiving the transmission gets it before... Basically, so your plan hinges on the fact if you're trying to obscure times of death, right? Part of what you're doing that is you're giving proof of life of Ibuki during a time frame where she's actually dead. Okay, great, fine, lovely. This only works if the hospital team arrives to view and take their call before the motel team arrives at the venue to make their call. It's reasonable to assume the hospital team will be there a bit early to receive the call. And I guess technically you do have Mikan, who's typically staying overnight. So really someone should be there at basically all hours, but I'm not necessarily under the impression that Mikan was heavily monitoring the surveillance call system outside of the specific hours when calls were supposed to be happening. But, so you can probably pretty safely assume that hospital team is going to be ready for the call, probably at least 5-10 minutes before the call actually goes out. But you can say the same thing on motel team. And if motel team gets there first and sees the body hanging, not only have you not given, like, proof of life, some fraudulent proof of life for Ibuki, you also now are not going to get the opportunity to tie up Hyoko and set that up how you want. Which... means you don't even... Now you aren't getting your fabricated time of death for Hyoko either, because what that's based upon is the idea that, oh, I saw Ibuki's body hanging there. Oh no, she's dead. I ran away. I come back. Now Hyoko's body is there too. If you just find Ibuki and then like, oh, and also Hyoko is in the back rooms, dead as well, now you have not fabricated time of death at all. Now granted, they're not getting specific time of death info because of your hot room, but still, the whole goal with this is you want to establish a period of time in which the murder occurred that gives you an alibi, right? Mikan came to wake you up but fell asleep on you, the same pose she did when she fell asleep on you in the hospital. Yeah. Though I was like unconscious for most of that. I wouldn't necessarily know for certain if that was real or fake. So, yeah, that's the big logical leap here. Because this had to have been a predetermined plan. But how do you do the plan if you don't have an assurance that hospital team is getting there significantly earlier than motel team. Who would have that assurance? The only people I can think of would be either Mikan, because she was the one who woke me up and sent me to the hospital in the first place, right? She goes over, wakes you up, knows it's 30 minutes early, and says, oh, by the way, Hajime, you should get to the hospital. Something cool's going on with Nagito. Go, 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 hurry up. And now she knows, okay, boom, he's at the hospital. Got him. But the issue is she doesn't now have a way to, unless there's like a secret passage where she took a shortcut or something, she doesn't have a way to get to the hospital first to be able to even deliver me the message. The alternative is if it's someone from the motel team, right? So say, for example, I could see the motel team, especially if they're getting kind of tired and bored of like, oh, okay, time to wake up early and go see the broadcast again and have, you know, nothing of value exchanged between our groups. I could see maybe they have a meeting at some point and be like, okay, look, do we all really need to go down there at, you know, like 8 or 6 in the morning or whenever this happens and receive this call? Can't just one of us do that? If you're the person who's then selected as like, hey, Kazuichi, you're our point guy. You're going to be the one that goes over there and answers the call. At that point, now you potentially have assurances. If you have complete control over when motel team gets to the venue, then you can specifically be like, I assume that hospital team is getting there, you know, at least 10, 15 minutes early. On that, and I've been entrusted to be motel team's representative. I'll just say, oh, I was meaning to get there right on time. You don't go there at all. You send the broadcast, and now there's no one suspicious of you not going there at all because, well, things got interrupted before it was set to happen, and you know. While it'd be nice for you to go, you know, 5, 10 minutes early, it's not unreasonable for you to be like, look, it's early in the morning. I'm going on time, okay? There's no reason for you to just hang out in an empty music venue for 10, 15 minutes if I don't have to. We should put more of the heat on Kazuichi than Nagito, because the issue is Nagito would have no means whatsoever of directing the time at which the motel team is answering the call. If that makes sense. Am I making sense, guys, or am I just talking in circles incomprehensibly? Anyways, so that's the big thing that's really niggling at me with this case.
I made Mikan rest in the on-call room, since she hadn't slept all night, while I waited in the hospital lobby. And then, I saw the incoming signal light on the surveillance.
Oh, wait a minute,
blinking before our scheduled time.
Hold on, did I misremember how this goes down? I sent Mikan to the on-call room? Okay, it's gotta be, like, that's a huge red flag. Because then she's actually in the perfect place to... Oh, no. 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 Guys. Who else could it be, then? She wakes me up on... Because it's all about the timing. She wakes me... Because this all falls apart if motel team gets there before the message goes out. And if she was there with me at the hospital, because I forgot that detail, apparently. We go to the hospital together and I send her to the on-call room. That's literally next door to where the setup is happening. Oh, no. I was right. It would seem.
When I pressed the button to turn on the monitor, what appeared on screen was a video of someone wearing a hospital gown and a hemp bag on their head, climbing a stepladder.
Yeah, because this is happening in the conference room. And that's right next door to the on-call room. Mikan.
Amazing! That's such a heart-pounding story. And then what did you do, Hajime?
I tried to stop them, of course.
Look, I know there could be twists, but I came into the stream thinking it was probably Mikan, and that piece of evidence is really in favor of that. Okay, I hope it's not her, but I will not let my hopes for what the result is get in the way of my investigation. Wherever the truth goes, that is where I shall go as well.
I rushed out of the hospital and ran to where the video was being recorded, the music venue. But it was too late. By the time I arrived, the person wearing the hemp bag on their head was already hanging from the ceiling. thought I should tell the others right away, so I headed to the motel.
Why the motel?
Because it was close to the music venue, and unlike the hospital, there were more able-bodied people there. At least, that's what I thought. But the only person who came with me was Chiaki.
But I remember feeling a little relieved because not long after, we met up with Mikan and Fuyuhiko.
We were also looking for Ibuki since she disappeared from our sight.
Oh right, but yeah, that's the thing though. If Mikan meets up with Fuyuhiko at the hospital, that's not a lot of time. That's her alibi though. Right? She doesn't have a great alibi for when the broadcast goes out, but she has a pretty good one for when the manipulation of the crime scene is happening.
After I rested for a bit, I started counting everyone at the hospital. And then I noticed Ibuki was gone, so I sprinted out of the hospital. Coincidentally, I ran into Fuyuhiko, so I pled with him in various ways to see if he could help me out.
Various ways?
Various ways?
Don't say it like that and confuse people.
After I heard from those two that Ibuki disappeared, I had a feeling she was the person wearing the hemp bag. So I immediately led them to the music venue.
But the door wouldn't open. Since we had no other option, the four of us broke down the door. And when that happened, we didn't just find Ibuki's body. We also found Hyoko's. And not just that. Her body was taped to a pillar.
That's when we heard the body discovery announcement. Not once, but twice in a row.
And so we decided to lower the hanged body, didn't we?
When we removed the hemp bag, just as we feared, it was Ibuki.
So that's how the case played out. Thank you. I understood it very easily.
Well, it's clear what the problem with this case is. When Hajime left the music venue, who...
Wait, how do I know anything Hajime just said is true?
Look, I mean, it's a fair point. Can't believe I'm saying that to Nagito, but fair enough. Huh?
Sorry, I'm only being impartial right now. And the story I just heard is clearly suspicious. Hajime, if you're the only one who saw the hanging video, and the first one to discover Ibuki's body, then you could be lying as much as you want right now, right?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't really think of how to defend my own innocence here. Film, I never saw the film! That's what... I kept the tickets! I never saw the film, so I couldn't have been recreating the film. There we go.
Why would I lie?
Obviously. So you could make
thank
us
you,
ignore
Nagisa.
what might be an inconvenient truth for you.
Do you doubt me?
If you're not lying, I would like you to prove it. Come on, try to prove it to me. Prove you're not the killer.
Just as Kazuichi said, Nagito's the kind of guy who will just confuse us and make matters worse. Damn it, I shouldn't have explained it to Nagito. I'm in trouble now thanks to that. It's gonna be the scrap of ticket paper. Or, no, that's a, I don't know. The invitation tickets.
Hajime's testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony is a lie, then the fact that Ibuki hung herself...
That would also be a lie.
I don't think I can deny that possibility. After all, Hajime's the only witness.
Why would Hajime lie?
Well, obviously because he's the killer.
Did Hajime kill both of them?
The fact that the bodies were imitating the movie.
But I didn't see the movie!
That's wrong.
I'm not the killer. I mean, there's no way I'd be able to imitate that movie.
Of course you're not. I already knew that.
Huh?
Before the incident, Hajime had never watched that movie. His invitation ticket is proof of that. Each person only received one ticket, And
Good
they're
thing I didn't
marked
watch
with
that
a
movie
stamp that
earlier.
shows the date and time. Isn't that right, Monokuma?
Yes, no mistakes there.
Which means there's no way Hajime, who never saw
1.5 million bucks well
could
spent.
commit murders that imitated him. Or did anyone tell him what happens in the movie? Of course no one did, right?
Hold on a sec! You're the one who brought this up in the first place!
Nagito, what are you doing?
Well, since we're opening with your witness testimony, I thought we should solidify the foundation.
And actually, that's just good lawyering. Good job.
It also provides a good warm-up.
And hey, I'm knocked off the suspects list. Let's just keep going at it, one by one until there's one left.
What warm-up? This isn't a game, you know.
Don't get mad. I just think warming up is really important. Especially since this isn't a game.
What a waste of time. Well, I knew it would turn out like this anyway.
Now then, since we know Hajime's testimony is reliable, let us move on to the arguments.
So this means Ibuki definitely climbed the stepladder all by herself, right?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Then that seals it. Ibuki committed suicide.
If Ibuki committed suicide, then who killed Hiyoko?
A murder coincidentally occurring in the same place as a suicide. Ain't possible, huh?
Seems unlikely.
Like I said before, it's pretty clear what the problem with this case is. The killer murdered Hiyoko while Hajime was gone. So all we gotta do is establish who could have possibly done that.
Then let's ask Hajime. How long would you say you were away from the music venue?
I couldn't have been gone for more than 10 minutes.
So they killed Hiyoko and taped her up within 10 minutes? There's no way that's possible.
That's why the killer stalled for time by making the music venue a closed room.
What do you mean, a closed room?
The killer blocked the venue door from the inside to try and keep us from entering right away.
However, that door is the only entrance to the music venue, right? If they blocked the door from the inside, the killer would not have been able to leave either.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Which means, when we broke down the venue door, the killer was still inside.
They were?
If that's the case, the only suspicious people are those who don't have an alibi for that time. And that's you two! Sonia and Kazuichi!
Me too?
What the hell? Why's it gotta be us?
The others all have alibis. Chiaki, Mikan, Hajime, and I all broke down the venue door together. Gundam met up with Hajime at the motel right before that. And if Akane and Nagito were laid up in the hospital, the only person that leaves is one of you.
There's another person who doesn't have an alibi. You know, Nekomaru.
I mean, I guess, but he's kind of a non-factor, isn't he? Right, Monokuma?
Me too!
Hey, why are you talking like, huh? You're kidding, right? You're not up to something weird, are you?
Please stop making bad jokes.
Anyway, if the killer was hiding inside the venue, we should obviously doubt the people who don't have alibis.
What a wicked way of backing us into a wall! Is this his professional skill?
The killer was inside the music venue. Fuyuhiko obviously thinks so, but is that really it? It's gonna be the glob.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside, they tried to keep us from getting in.
Could be from the inside.
It seems they were trying to stall for time.
How did they lock the door?
No, this is
That door
what
should
it's
not have had a lock.
The lock was on the floor in front of the door.
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
You can use that as a bolt to lock the door. By doing that, the killer who was hiding inside waited till we gathered together and suddenly appeared.
so they looked like they had just rushed over.
I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
That person's remark contradicts the truth. I should be able to prove that with my evidence.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside.
With the glob? You sure about that?
No, that's wrong. Hold on a sec. There's also a possibility that the door was locked from the outside.
From the outside? How?
There was a semi-transparent glob stuck to the venue door. Maybe that's what they used.
Semi-transparent glob? Like rubber, maybe?
It wasn't rubber at all. That semi-transparent glob was probably... Well, it tasted bad, so it's probably not gum. Glue?
I see! That semi-transparent glob must have been glue.
Glue?
Yeah, I think so too. It had a firm, gel-like chewiness, and I could smell workshop chemicals the moment I put it in my mouth. Based on all that, I'm certain it was glue.
I didn't know glue was edible.
It's not.
I believe it is not something one typically eats.
That glue was only applied to the areas where both doors touched. By pouring it in the gaps of the closed door, they must have sealed the venue door from the outside.
And thanks to that, a glob of glue was left where the door was stuck. Yep, it fits perfectly. But if you just stick them together with glue, you'd be able to break down the door easily, you know? That doesn't really matter. The killer only did that to make us think the door was locked from the inside.
Yep.
What'd you say?
First of all, didn't that drumstick we found seem really obvious? Almost unnaturally so? It was so obvious that it makes more sense to think the killer placed it as a diversion.
Okay.
Are you saying the drumstick was a trap the killer set on purpose? Then I totally fell for that fucking trap.
Apologize to Miss Sonia and me. However, you're not allowed to slice open your stomach this time.
In a quarrel, both sides are to blame. That's why it's better to just have no sides at all.
Oh, shut up, Monokuma.
So, during the 10 minutes Hajime left the venue, the killer murdered Hiyoko and created a closed space?
And they also taped her up after killing her, right?
Even quick work has limits.
Oh, what unimaginable speed for a slowpoke like me.
If they couldn't have done it while Hajime was away from the venue, they must have done it earlier than that.
Earlier? Well, yeah, the killing part, sure. But not the rearranging.
But when Hajime got to the venue, only Ibuki's body was there, right?
And when you went back with everyone else, Hiyoko's body was there too, right? But it's possible that the body was just revealed at that time, when Hiyoko was actually killed earlier.
Just revealed?
Of course, the body wasn't revealed on its own. The killer did that too. Here, I have proof.
That scrap of paper. Is that what we found in the baton lighting at the music venue?
Yeah.
That's right, but just what is this scrap anyway?
That scrap was stuck on the baton lighting in the music venue. Now I should be able to figure out what it is. It's wallpaper, right? Wallpaper.
Got it!
Okay. But how do they reveal the body later on with wallpaper?
Scrap. Isn't it part of the wallpaper in the storage room? In the music venue storage room, there should have been black wallpaper that's the same color as that scrap. There was also a tear along the edge of the wallpaper, wasn't there? If so...
You're right. If you overlay the scrap that was caught on the lighting with the tear in the wallpaper...
Wait. Are you saying Hyoko was there the whole time? She just wasn't lit?
See? It fits perfectly.
I see. So the scrap that was caught on the baton lighting was originally part of the wallpaper.
Wait, but what are we getting at here?
And what's wrong with that? Does it have something to do with Hyoko's body disappearing?
A mere nobody like me isn't important enough to answer that. But if you guys were exceptional enough to identify that scrap of paper, you can figure this out easily.
That scrap of paper stuck to the baton lighting was part of that wallpaper I found in the storage room. Was it connected to the sudden appearance of Hyoko's body? Like a mere scrap couldn't do much other than maybe block the lights. If I trace it back from there, the answer should become clear. Alright, let's give this a try. Logic dive. Okay, I'm bad at this. What are the controls? Okay. How do I jump? Okay. Whoa, we got actual obstacles. Okay. Question 1. Why did Hyoko's body suddenly appear at the crime scene? It was brought there, it was hidden. That much is certain. Not enough time for it to have been brought there. Plus we have blood at the scene itself. Alright. What did the killer use to hide the body? Alright, I guess it must have been the wallpaper? Because the curtain's used for something else and we're tugging at the wallpaper. But how? It's getting rather narrow here. Question 3. How did the killer hide her body with the wallpaper? Covered the pillar, they formed a wall? I guess they must have covered the pillar. But like, bodies are pretty thick, you'd think you would have noticed that. It's been a pretty lumpy pillar, I would think. Though maybe it only needs to, I guess if it only needs to be convincing at a glance. Though even still, if this was how it was done, you still need to come by and mess with the crime scene after the fact. Though you could do it much quicker, admittedly, if everything was already set up and you just got to tear some wallpaper down.
I got it. Hyoko's body was hidden before we found it.
But it would have taken quite a long time to tape up a hidden body.
No, the body was already taped up and the killer hid it, along with the pillar using the wallpaper.
What? They hid the pillar?
Yeah, by wrapping the wallpaper around the pillar, the killer was able to create a slightly larger pillar. So when I first discovered Ibuki's body, Hyoko... However, because it was concealed within a slightly larger pillar, I didn't realize that at the time.
Well, that's
Let's see.
understandable. I mean, it makes sense that you'd notice Ibuki's body right away.
So they used the baton lighting on the ceiling to hang the wallpaper?
The baton lighting forms a perfect circle around the pillar.
Oh, it does,
So
yes.
using it to hang the wallpaper totally fits.
Then, the reason the wallpaper was covered in so many stickers
Oh,
was
it's to keep it to...
like that pillar.
That's how they hid Hyoko's body, and then peeled off the wallpaper as soon as I left the music venue.
But the killer made a mistake. They accidentally ripped off a piece of the wallpaper. And because of that, a scrap was left on the baton lighting.
The killer must have been in a hurry. If their plan took too long, Hajime could have walked in on them.
But going to the trouble of hiding the body and the pillar is very bold and risky.
But the crime itself would be much easier to pull off since they don't have much to do while Hajime's gone.
True.
They just have to peel off that wallpaper and stash it in the storage room. It's not that big of a deal.
Then, when was Hiyoko actually killed?
Good point. And on that note,